Okay, so today we are going to be looking at Mark of the Lion by Suzanne Arruda. So, here we go, now you can see it. So basically the background, Jade Del Cameron is the main character of the story, and she was an ambulance driver during World War II. So her boyfriend, David Worthy, was a pilot, and Jade had just gotten to the field hospital, and when David's plane was shot down by a German fighter pilot. So she was nearby, and she rushed to him and was holding him and trying. I mean, she's panicking, of course, 'cause it's her boyfriend, and she's trying to save him. But he dies in her arms anyways. And she gives Jade one last request to find his brother. Another side note is she has PTSD, so certain sounds and occurrences around her will make her think of the war. And this is especially true with laughter that's kind of maniacal or whatever, because it reminds her of the mentally insane patients that had just come off the battlefield that she had to take back in her ambulance. And yeah. Okay, so after she receives David's final request and the war ends, she returns to London to get information about David's brother from his mom. And so his mom, of course, denies it. But she also goes to, because it's not from her, it would be an affair that Gilworthy had in Africa. And of course, the married woman does not, married Gilworthy died in Africa. But, yeah. So the lawyer that Jade also visits, shows Jade a letter written by David's father, Gilworthy, and it's addressed to Abel, his second son. So it also has a ring that matches David's. So David gave Jade's ring to David gave his ring to Jade as a kind of a parting gift, as he was dying. But then the second ring she has to give to the brother, as their matching set. So she goes to Africa, and she's hoping to learn more about Gilworthy's death, and obviously find a son, because his death was a little iffy. I mean, he was mauled by an animal. I want to say it was a hyena, but I'm not entirely sure. Actually, I don't think it says anyways, he was mauled by an animal. And, okay, you're in Africa, that makes sense. But the only problem is he was in his hotel and I don't think he was even on the first floor. So, how would the animal have gotten up there and, gotten through the hotel? This is not, a outdoor, it's a nice, fancy hotel. How did the animal get in and kill him? So, she's suspicious about that. She thinks that it's murder. But she still doesn't know how they accomplished it. So, yeah. And so she meets some people there. She becomes friends with the Thompsons, and Madeline and her get along very well. So she starts living with them instead of at this hotel. And so she's trying to use people around her as resources to find more about Gilworthy and possibly his son. So, so Harry Haskam and Roger Forrester are two of the people that she meets, and they're going to lead a safari for Jade and a few of her friends. Because safaris are fun, that's what you do in Africa. So until then, she's trying to figure out more information from people around her. So she's asking, she asked the Thompson, but they weren't around then, and Lord Coleridge knows a little bit about him. Harry Haskam worked with him, and so she has a map from Gilworthy with a few notes scrawled on it. It's just a few names. Kruger, which is Kruger, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's just a very common native African name. And then we've got Dolly and Abel. So she also learns about current people in their backgrounds. So Harry, and side note, Harry's trying to become business partners with Roger, but Roger won't agree to it because Roger is proud, obviously, but his farm, it was like an ostrich farm for feathers for ladies' hats, but then the automobile came along and it's like super windy, so they would destroy the feathers. So then he went out of business, and he's like trying to do other things to, keep himself afloat, and he's just not accepting help from anybody, including Harry. So yeah, and so once on the safari, Roger mentions that his middle name is Abel, and he's talking about some different. Oh, during the war, everyone was drafted, but he was drafted more to stay at home or something. Like the way he worked. Oh, because he knew like Swahili or something. So he stayed in Africa, and he was talking about how he wishes he would have been a fighter pilot because his initials are RAF, Royal Air Force. No, yeah, Royal Air Force. But his actual name is Roger Abel Forrester. So Jade thinks that she found the guy, especially when he mentions that his mother used to always call him a worthy child, like with emphasis on the worthy child part, maybe implying that he was David Worthy's son. So she of course tells David's request and gives him the envelope and the ring, and so after this, they've kind of like already went to camp for the night, and it's like the next day or a couple days after, they climb up to Poacher's Lookout. So it's to get a view and just have Jade get some pictures and stuff. And Bev was one of Jade's friends from the war, and she came down here with her new husband to Africa with her new husband just to visit Jade because they're really good friends. And so she went on the safari with him as well as her husband. And so Bev had described like the etchings on Jade's ring as like this little ghost peeking over a hill and everything. And he's got like one tear going down his eye. But the tear is not on Roger's ring. It's only on Jade's ring. Well, David's ring. And so once they climb up to the Poacher's Lookout, they recognize that, hey, this landscape, like what we're seeing, is the same as the etchings on the rings, except for they don't know what the tear is. So there's this cave up there, and they leave Peely, which is one of the servants, Bev, and Harry got wounded. He like fractured his leg. The other guys are searching for Roger, I'm pretty sure, because he went off doing something and he hasn't come back. Oh, he was searching for this other guy who was hunting and they didn't find him, and yeah. So they don't find Roger and they're returning to the cave, and as they're leaving or getting something from the truck, I can't remember, somehow Peely and Jade end up at the car alone. And so she hears this like crazed laughter and just has like a panic attack, but Peely pulls her out of it, and it's this hyena that's about to attack them, and Jade shoots it, and it runs off. So they follow the blood trail, and it ends in some bushes, and she finds Roger there. Like Roger is the one that got shot. And so there's been this whole thing throughout the story with the native people. They believe like it's the witch is like targeting certain people, and being a witch, they can control animals to do their will, and some of them can even turn into animals themselves. So that's what Roger has done. He's actually like a witch and turned himself into a hyena and a lion to like kill different people. So basically Roger is not Gil's son, it's Peely, because he's the one has this necklace. His name doesn't mean warrior, it actually means second son. They were looking at the wrong language for the translation, and so Roger lied to get the money because he really needed the money, and Harry was helping Roger so that he would partner with him, but Roger, and he had a couple evidence, he had proof of him being Gil's son by the whole worthy child, but he also had these handcuffs or cuffs or something that were inscribed with Gilworthy's initials. So Jade thought that was proof, but the proof all along was Peely's cross necklace. And so Roger had to kill Peely because he might have been somebody was going to figure out eventually. So if he destroyed the evidence, then he would be indisputed. Yeah, so Jade honestly is one of my all-time favorite characters. She's very independent and she's super blunt. She doesn't need other people to protect her because she can do it herself, and she's a really good shot, and she keeps cool in hard situations, as long as there's no laughter involved. And she's really the only one to think that there's anything valid about these stories about the witch. She was wearing this like paste that like was protecting her, and it really did work. So everything else thought that they were just impossible, like, oh, natives are just trying to like make too much out of this, like it's just, we killed it. But in all reality, you know, they didn't. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's the first book in a 6-book series, and it's actually considered a mystery series. I wouldn't think that, but I mean, I guess since she was trying to find David Worthy's killer and trying to find Gilworthy's second son, then technically it is, because a mystery is just something that you don't know. But in that way, many of books that wouldn't necessarily be called mysteries could be considered that. So I don't know. I think that's debatable, but it is a really good book. Yeah. So that's it for today. I'll probably have another one by next weekend, and I hope you guys will watch this.